Everyone, welcome back to today's video. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and thank you so much for stopping. I wanted to make a video talking about my most anticipated reads for the first half of 2025. Some of them I have physical copies and some of them have not been released yet. I'm hoping that this video will give you some inspiration or some new book recommendations that you can try out with me. There are 15 books that I'm going to talk about today, so let's just dive right into it. Alright, let's start with some new releases that will be coming out this spring. First of all, let's talk about the author, Abby Jimenez. I love her writing. The first book that I read of hers was Part of Your World. I'll put a little picture here so you can see that. And it was actually the very first book that I ordered for Book of the Month, and I loved it so much. I went on to read the second interconnected standalone that goes with Part of Your World, and that's Yours Truly, and I binged that book in one day. I can remember staying up until 3 in the morning to finish that book, but it was so well worth the read. If I'm remembering correctly, they weren't too spicy. If this is the first video you're watching, I'm not a huge fan of spice. With all that being said, her next release is coming out in April and it's called Say You'll Remember Me. I just love her writing style and I highly recommend that you try out some of her books. If you have watched my first 3 videos that I have posted, I believe I've spoken about Emily Henry in all of those videos. I really enjoy her writing. She's more of a women's fiction author, and she puts a little sprinkle of romance in her book. Emily Henry is also releasing a new book in April, and it is called My Great Big Beautiful Life. In the month of May, Catherine Center has a new book release coming out, and it's called The Love Haters. I have read 2 or 3 of her books now. I really enjoy Catherine Center. She's a great author. Her books are very rom-com-y, if you will. She adds quirky characters to her books and it just cracks me up. All of the books that I have read from her have been closed-door romance, so that just means that her books are not spicy. If you have not given any of Catherine Center's books a try, I highly recommend it. You won't be disappointed. Okay, let's get into the physical books that I'm going to be talking about today. First, I'm going to start with my Book of the Month pick. It just arrived a couple of days ago and I wanted to wait to make this video to show you what's in here. This is a new release and it's a suspense/thriller book, I believe. So let's get this open. I just completely destroyed this box. Wild Dark Shore by Catherine McConaughey. McConaughey? Maybe it's McConaughey. I'm not sure. That is a beautiful cover. I love the waves, the dark clouds and sky. I'm going to read the synopsis for you so you can kind of get a feel of what it's about. Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica. Home to the world's largest seed bank, Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with sea levels rising, the Salts are now its final inhabitants. Until, during the worst storm the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. Isolation has taken its toll on the Salts, but as they nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength, it begins to feel like she might just be what they need. Rowan, long accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone again. But Rowan isn't telling the whole truth about why she set out for Shearwater, and when she discovers sabotaged radios and a freshly dug grave, she realizes Dominic is keeping his own secrets. As the storms on Shearwater gather force, they all must decide if they can trust one another enough to protect the precious seeds in their care before it's too late. And if they can finally put the tragedies of the past behind them to create something new together. A novel of breathtaking twists, dizzying beauty, and ferocious love, Wild Dark Shore is about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love, even as the world around us disappears. I guess I was wrong on the genre, but this sounds really good. I'm just going to open it up to see what the actual book looks like. Oh, this is so pretty. Love the colors. This next book I'm not going to talk about too much because I did in another video that I just posted shortly ago. The Will of the Many by James Islington. This fantasy, when you read the synopsis, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. I cannot wait to get into this book. It's about a young man who goes to this training school. He kind of infiltrates the system trying to figure out who has murdered his family, and if they find out who he is, they will kill him, but he is seeking revenge. So that's a little bit of what it's about. It is a beautiful cover. This is the newly published cover this year, and I so cannot wait to get into this one. The next book I'm so excited to read is Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. This is going to be a highly emotional book. I'm going to keep a Kleenex box close by because I know that it's going to stir up a lot of emotion. Memphis, 1939. 12-year-old Rill Foss and her 4 younger siblings live a magical life aboard their family's Mississippi River shanty boat. But when their father must rush their mother to the hospital one stormy night, Rill is left in charge until strangers arrive in force. Wrenched from all that is familiar and thrown into a Tennessee Children's Home Society orphanage, the Foss children are assured that they will soon be returned to their parents, but they quickly realize the dark truth. At the mercy of the facility's real-life director, the cruel Georgia Tan, Rill fights to keep her sisters and brother together. So it's dual timeline. And then it says Aiken, South Carolina, present day. Born into wealth and privilege, Avery Stafford seems to have it all. A successful career, a handsome fiancé, and a lavish wedding on the horizon. But when she returns home to help her father weather a health crisis, a chance encounter leaves her with uncomfortable questions and compels her to take a journey through her family's long-hidden history, on a path that will ultimately lead either to devastation or redemption. This is a well-loved book. It sold over 2 million copies. It sounds so good. Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. She is also the author of another book that's gotten a lot of hype, and it's called Ready or Not. I believe it was published last year. If I like this book, I'll pick up the other book and give that a go. I believe the premise of this book is about a young woman who has lost her best friend. She's passed away from cancer, and she's kind of trying to figure out and navigate her life without her best friend. She meets a man, Miles, and he has gone through some loss in his life. This book might have a lot of self-discovery, character growth, so I'm really interested. There might be a little bit of romance in this, I'm not sure, but we will see. It sounds really good. 7 Summers by Paige Toon. This book was actually recommended to me by another booktuber, and she said you really need to pick this book up and read it. So I'm really excited to read it. I don't even know what it's about, but I trust her, and I'm hoping that I enjoy it. The next book I'm really excited to read is The Prince of Tides by Pat Conroy. This is a lengthy book. His books draw a lot of emotion from the reader. His prose is beautiful. This book is about a family and their past. I don't exactly know what type of circumstance these siblings go through, but it affects their entire life, and they're just trying to get through and help one another. But if you're interested in reading this book and you're unsure, I would just look up, I guess they call it trigger warnings, and I can't wait to read this book. Summary read, same time next summer. This is by Annabelle Monaghan or Monahan. I think I said this in another video, but last year I read Summer Romance. I really enjoyed this book. It wasn't like a 5-star book, but it was around 3.5, 4-star for me, so I had to pick up another one. Sam's life is on track. She has the perfect doctor fiance, Jack. His strict routines are a good thing, really. A great job in Manhattan, unless they fire her, and is about to tour a wedding venue near her family's Long Island beach house. Everything should go to plan, yet the minute she arrives, Sam senses something is off. Wyatt is here. Her Wyatt. But there's no reason for a 30-year-old engaged woman to feel panicked around the guy who broke her heart when she was 16, right? Yet being back at the beach, hearing notes from Wyatt's guitar float across the night air from the next door as if no time has passed, Sam's memories come flooding back. The feel of Wyatt's skin on hers, their nights in the treehouse, and the truth behind their split. Sam remembers who she used to be, and as Wyatt re-enters her life, their connection is as undeniable as it always was. She will have to make a choice. So this is like a first love situation, re-entering the picture. Should be interesting. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This book is set in more of a dystopian type world. I need to find out when it was written because it was quite some time ago. So this book was actually originally called The Fireman, and Ray Bradbury wrote this back in 1950. 60 years after its original publication, Ray Bradbury's internationally acclaimed novel Fahrenheit 451 stands as a classic of world literature set in a bleak dystopian future. Today, its message has grown more relevant than ever before. Guy Montag is a fireman. His job is to destroy the most illegal of commodities, the printed book, along with the houses in which they are hidden. Montag never questions the destruction and ruin his actions produce, returning each day to his bland life and wife, Mildred, who spends all day with her television family. But when he meets an eccentric young neighbor, Clarice, who introduces him to a past where people didn't live in fear, and to a present where one sees the world through the ideas in books instead of the mindless chatter of television, Montag begins to question everything he has ever known. Sounds really interesting. This is one of the top books I want to read within the next little while. Oh my goodness, you guys. I was in Walmart the other day looking to see, I saw a few new releases in there. Nothing that really intrigued me or that would be my type of reading style. But this book, you guys, I almost cried when I read the synopsis. Looked it up on Goodreads and the rating is 4.9 stars. It's going to be, I feel like I have so many emotional reads here to talk about, but this book, I can't wait to read this book for so many reasons. Because of world history, this is a true story of someone who went through the Holocaust with her mother. I don't know what else to say. It's called Do Not Cry When I Die. I only survived because of my mother's love. When German soldiers invaded Poland in September 1939, a 6-year journey began for then 10-year-old Renee Salt and her mother, Sala. Until their liberation in 1945, Renee and Sala were imprisoned in ghettos and concentration camps, including Auschwitz-Birkenau and Bergen-Belsen. Sorry if I said that wrong. The only light in the darkness and brutality for Renee was the unwavering grasp of her mother's hand in hers, enduring against all odds. It was this unbreakable bond, along with a few miracles, that kept Renee alive. Sala's staggering courage to defy the will of the SS guards saved both her and her daughter from the gas chambers, and the pair survived the deadliest days in Auschwitz-Birkenau's history. After suffering the nightmarish conditions at Bergen-Belsen, Renee and Sala were liberated in April 1945. To this day, Renee attributes her survival to the love and bravery of her beloved mother. Do Not Cry When I Die is an incredibly moving and deeply crucial book that tells the shocking story of one of the oldest Auschwitz-Birkenau and Bergen-Belsen survivors and the mother's love that saved her life. This is Renee Salt right here. The daughter. I don't know what else to say, but wow. Makes you think a lot. First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is a romance book. I haven't read anything from B.K. Borison, and I just included it in a book haul because it was my February book of the month pick. Anyway, just because it's a new release and I've heard some really good things about it so far, I'm really intrigued to read this book. The last book I want to talk about, just 1 second. There we go. The Last Love Note by Emma Gray. 2 years after losing her husband Cameron, Kate is a bit of a mess. Lurching from one comedic crisis to the next, she does her best to navigate work, friendships, and parenting a 5-year-old without Cam's support. When a flight diversion on a business trip unexpectedly leaves her stranded in a beach town in Australia, Kate finally has a chance to process her grief. Can she let go of the love of her life and risk her heart a second time? The Last Love Note will make readers laugh, cry, and renew their faith in the resilience of the human heart, recognizing that while you may never stop loving the one you lost, you can always find love again. That's it. Those are my most anticipated reads for 2025 so far. I will do a part 2 halfway through the year, just so that we can chat about some new books I'll be excited to read about during the fall and winter. All right, that's it for me today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. And until next time, take care. Bye. When I should be sleeping.